right? Okay, so moving on to the next module, we have module 7, right? This module is for the inspection, right? So we'll be mainly talking about the inspection requirement for various fire protection system, and both active and passive fire protection system requirement, right? The site plan review for the fire services. Here we have the learning objectives, right? So we have different these are some of the learning objectives from this module, right? We have to define the terms acceptable risk and discuss its impact on the level of code enforcement, right? We have to define the acceptable risk, and then we have to discuss this risk, how it is going to impact on the code enforcement procedure, right? Discuss the potential impact of inspection on a jurisdiction fire record, right? Define the term selective enforcement as applied to fire codes. Describe two methods of determining inspection priorities and discuss the advantage and disadvantage of these two methods. Right? Discuss the fire officer's role in inspection, right? And describe how to identify fire hazards through inspection. How we are going to identify those various hazards throughout those inspections, right? So we all know that in 2013, right, we have some of the major incident that happened in one of the nightclub, the station nightclub fire, right? It was back in 2003, on February 2003, right? There was a fire in the station nightclub in West Warwick Rhode Island, right? So there was a fire in the nightclub, right? So that was the fire which killed more than 100% within 3 months, and there was loss and damage to the properties. So the fire inspection team went to the site, were looking for the requirement, how this fire happens, and what is the reason for this fire, right? They found that the indoor pyrotechnic devices ignited foam plastics materials. They has been installed for acoustic purpose. Normally, they have used the foam plastic material to minimize the acoustic sound and all, right? So those are a pyrotechnic devices, right? So, and there are some of the pyrotechnic devices that ignited that foam, and a result is that the initial toll of around 97 fatalities rose to 100 within 3 months. So there are there were 100% died within 3 months because of those deadliest fire, right? And it is one of the deadliest nightclub fire in U.S. history, right? So after that, the team from the fire inspection, went to the site. They want to make sure what is the reason for this fire, right? What is the reason that the nightclub catches the fire and so much fatalities is happening because of that? So state and local government across the country scramble to determine their vulnerability to a similar catastrophe. So they don't want any kind of the incident happens similar in future. So they want to avoid that one. For that, they went for the inspection to the site, right? The fire chiefs and fire marshal, the fire chief and fire marshal were summoned by to testify before elected official, right? Often in televised sessions. Many fire officials were forced to admit that a comprehensive inspection program that included evening and weekend checklist of the public assembly occupancies does not exist. So at those time, there was some of the inspection program, right? So those inspection program include that every evening and weekend, during evening and weekend, they have to go to the public assemblies occupancies and they have to check for all those fire protection system requirement. But there was no inspection for those kind of the public occupancies, right? So the fire officials, right? They given the opportunity to mention that the reason inspection were not being conducted was because of lack of staff resources. Right, there were no more staffs. They go for uh, all building which is for public uses to inspect the system. It is the capacity of the department team is very less. After that, the demand for the inspection further goes higher for the facilities that they cannot come with the similar incident in future. So from the the what is the acceptable risk, right? It is a measure of level of hazard potential that the public is willing to live with, right? So normally there is a risk in everything. If you guys are from the process safety field, right, there is a risk while you are driving your car, there is a risk while you are sleeping, there is a risk while you are doing any kind of the work. But then comes the acceptable risk. That risk should be acceptable, right, not higher than that one. And this will be measured by the department and the risk assessment studies and all, what is the acceptable risk and all, right? And then the reduction of hazard through inspection process, right? If you are inspecting the plant, right, if you are inspecting the site, you will reduce the hazard, right? If you are going to any site, if you are going to any site, right, and for the inspection, and if you see that that is residential complaints and they are using the highly explosive materials, right, that is not allowed. So if you are not doing the inspection by time to time, they might misuse the permit that they have approved. So the inspection team have to go there based on the timely basis, maybe as for the local jurisdiction and their plan, but that there is no hazardous process happening within those areas, right? The inspection required for the preservation of properties and protection of the public. For the protection of the public and for the interest of the properties, right, we need the inspection, right? To detect visible hazards such as flammable liquid, right? So detect any kind of the hazards within the household, they have to go to the site and look for those requirements. Incident of fire could be reduced by 50%, right, by undertaking a comprehensive program in which every public building is inspected. You have to inspect every building within your jurisdiction. Every building you have to inspect, right, based on the monthly basis to look out if they are not violating any rules of the fire and safety norms, or they are just using as it the permit, right? So you have to, if you are inspecting every building within a municipality, within a city, within a area, within a community, right, 50% of the fire will be reduced, right? In 1979, NFPA studies effectiveness of company inspections and inspection priority must be established, right? So what they found that routine inspection by the fire service range from residential fire safety service by in-service company to a specialized inspection for code compliance in business and industrial occupancies. So what is the purpose of fire inspection, right? What is the main need or purpose of the fire inspection? The purpose of the fire inspection have been listed down here, right? To obtain proper life safety condition, we have to show that life safety condition has been obtained within some areas, within those facilities, to keep fire from starting, and the fire, to just prevent the fire, right? The prevention is better than protection. So we, to prevent fire and to keep fire from spreading. Even there is fire, right, even there is a fire, we have to keep fire from spreading by using of the compartmentation or passive fire protection system. A fire will be only within a room and it should not go to the other areas, right, because of the passive fire protection system requirement as for the NFPA life safety code or other international building code, right? And the most important is that to determine the adequacy and maintenance of fire protection system, right? You got approval for your fire protection system or your fire plan at the initial construction time, right? So you, now your system is ready and you got approval and the fire protection system within the service, right? Now if you are not maintaining your fire protection system as per NFPA 25, which is for inspection, testing and maintenance for water based fire protection system, right? Maybe after 3 years or 4 years or maybe after 5 years, your fire protection system will be out of service, right? Maybe things will be not regular, right? The fire pump is not getting started by time to time, and when there is actual fire, your fire protection system fails, right? So maintenance of the system is much important, right? You have to maintain the system as per the requirement within the jurisdiction. We cannot overlook this requirement, right? So maintaining your system will be one of the major benefit for your fire protection techniques and systems. To pre-plan firefighting procedures, right? So if the fire department officer visiting your facilities, right, they have some knowledge about the areas, right? They will be having some idea regarding the firefighting procedures, the pre-plan. Okay, there is a fire at North Street, cross 4 by 2, and the entrance is from the back door. So they will directly go all the way from this side to fight the fire. So they have to visit for time to time to get those requirement, right? To stipulate cooperation between owners and occupant and the fire department, right? So they will go time to time for the fire inspection system. They will incorporate with the owners, occupants, and the fire department. By doing that, they might be educating those persons regarding the fire and life safety requirement. And the last one, to ensure compliance with fire protection laws, ordinance, and regulations, right? The compliance means here once your system installed and how you are maintaining your system, right? Because the code also says you have to maintain your system as per the NFPA 25 requirement for the water-based fire protection system, and if it is for the gaseous fire protection system, all those codes in NFPA standard must be followed. Then we have the selective code enforcement, right? Inspection and enforcement efforts that are not based on legitimate factors and that use the power of the government to selectively discriminate against a particular business or group of people, right? So for particular business or some groups of people, there might be some of the selective code enforcement, right? Then we have establishing inspection priorities, right? To approach that priorities inspection based on risk and the actual hazards, right? So we have to first identify the hazards and then what is the risk associated with that, right? Associated with certain occupancy classes, right? We have different occupancies as per life safety code, like residential, official, healthcare occupancies, and so on, up to around 40 to 42 different occupancies they have given. Based on that, we have to identify the hazard and then we have to assess the risk. The system of inspection based on the actual fire experience within the jurisdiction would appear to be the surest method of addressing the most pressing fire prevention and life safety issues. Accurate assessment of fire statistics for the jurisdiction should be a regular function of the Fire Prevention Bureau, right? They have to assess, they have to do assessment in a professional way and accurate statistics, right? So that it will give a statistics for the jurisdiction should be a regular function of Fire Prevention Bureau, right? Most cities or countries does not reveal a true picture of relative risk associated with particular hazard cases, right? So risk assessment procedure should be done based on the hazard to hazard, right? So what is the hazard with certain occupancies and how they are going to access the risk assessment process. The integral part of every model of fire code is a permit system. So now we are moving to the permit model, right, which is based on, as for NFPA, as for International Fire Code 2012 editions, right, they have 46 operational permit categories and 16 constructional permit categories, right? So operational permit categories and the construction permits we discussed at the right, for the operation and for the construction they are giving, right? The meaning of the operational permits is that they are giving some of the permit for the operation. Like if you want to do some fireworks for some occasion within some beach areas, they will give you the permit for that one. That you have to follow those requirements. You have to only light the fire within 6 to 9 p.m. right on this day, not more than that. So they will just give you the time frame and you have to follow. The construction permit means you are going to construct some buildings or you are going to modify something inside the existing building, right? The model code authorize the fire official to require and issue permits. So model codes, right? They will authorize the fire official to require and issue the permit. They have to follow the model code. Model code like we have International Fire Code, Saudi Fire Code, or Life Safety Code. Those are all are the model codes. Most of the time, the permit categories are based on our national fire experience, right? And were established over the years in response to incident involving large loss of life or significant financial loss from the property damage, right? The list is constantly evolving, right? So the permit process they used to give based on the experience, right? And those experience come from time to time, right? That what is happening in the past, from there they learn something in the future, right? And to minimize the risk, right? This is a risk in the past and they minimize based on some incident, almost to around the minimum acceptable range, right? So the permit categories are based on national fire experience and were established over the years in response to incident involving fire. We learned something today and we said, okay, we learned something, we have to protect that now in the future. So they will enforce by time to time, they will update their process, they will this is why the code comes in the edition, right? They have to revise the code after 3 years. Like for the most of the NFPA code, they used to revise from time to time. So the time frame is 3 years. So if something happening, they might found that we missed something into the previous edition of this code. Now, keeping in mind for the incident that happened at this moment, we have to going to modify the code requirement in the future. So it comes based on the experience what happens in the past, and then they will comply to the futures. Right? And the operation without the required permit is a violation of the model fire codes, right? If you don't have any permit and you are doing some of the fireworks or some kind of the operation without the permit, is a violation of the fire code. So if it is a violation of the fire code, it is also the violation of the ASJ, right? If it is a violation of the ASJ, then you might be under the violation of the jurisdiction or the court law. The ASA will take you to the court, and then there should be the judgment and all for your mismanagement with the fire code and safety requirement based on the severity of those outputs, right? The permit conditions include submission of the required applications, right? Payment of fees and permission for the fire official to inspect the facilities, right? Then we have next we have the inspection model, right? In the inspection model they will do the they will find that they will inspect the occupancy classes. Types of process are selected for inspection based on perceived need, right? They will look for the what is the types of occupancy classification, right? Like NFPA 101 says that if a building is made for certain occupancy, they should be used for the same one. You cannot change your residential occupancy to any warehouse storage occupancies or any kind of the factory occupancies or office occupancy to any kind of the storage assemblies, right? To note classes and the types of process, what the process you are going to do are selected for inspection based on perceived need, right? Need must be based on the fire risk or life hazard. The need must be based on fire risk or life hazard, and it should be backed up with statistics of actual fire loss. Right? The fire official must be able to justify why particular industry process or occupancies are selected and why they are not. Right? So they will inspect the facilities, right? And they have to justify that why some of the industry or the process or occupancies are selected and why some of the occupancy are not selected for that, all right? The fire official must be ready to provide valid reason to a skeptical public and the media, right? If you are inspecting some of the highly reputed industries for some of the things, you have to be you have to have some of the solid evidence for that one, right? That they are violating the rules and regulations, and you should be ready for giving any kind of reasons for that one. When prioritizing inspection using the inspection model, develop a written plan, right? The inspection warrant must be used by a court commanding on officer to inspect specific premises, right? If some of the officer want to go within some facilities in based on the inspection model, this should be a warrant must be issued by the court, right? So that they can go inside the facilities and they will check the various fire safety and code requirements. Then we have inspection of existing occupancies, right? How we are going to inspect some of the existing occupancies. Building officials charge enforcement of a construction code that regulate new construction, right? Property maintenance code that target residential occupancy ensure that landlords meet minimum standard for safety and hygiene, right? So the inspector officer will go to the existing occupancies just to make sure they have maintaining the system or they have maintaining the premises based on the fire safety code requirement, right? Based on the requirement of the jurisdiction. They are not violating anything the way they have given the permit for them, right? They are not using any kind of things which is highly flammable within a residential area. They will look for all. The health inspector, right? The health inspector involved in food service and processing, healthcare, and other fire official code applies to all of the foregoing and should interact with the other officials. There might be the health inspector who is just looking for the food service and processing area, right? Within the healthcare industries, they have to interact with all other officials to go for the inspection of existing occupancies. All building and structure, including residential occupancies, are within the scope of the model fire code, right? So they have to follow the model fire code. All those buildings and structure, included residential occupancies, are within the scope of model fire code. So if the civil defense if the civil defense is following the Saudi fire code, so now this is the model code for this one, and all building and structures, right, should be following the same code. The right of entry to any facilities, right, in model codes permit the fire official to enter and inspect a structure on a routine basis, exempt one and two family dwelling and residential portion. If that is followed within the model code, right, so the inspector can go anytime within any facilities to do the routine inspection, except one or two family dwelling and residential portion that may require some kind of the permit to go inside those areas. Then we have the routine inspection, right? Must inspection of existing occupancies are considered routine inspection, right? So we have some routine inspection. Suppose you are one of the code enforcement officers and we have to go for the routine inspection by time to time. So while you are going into those facilities, you should have some logbook or some forms to check all those system requirements based on the time to time frame, right? And the routine inspection conducted during normal business hours and may involve the issuance of a permit. Routine inspection include all occupancy classifications. They can go to within any facilities for doing the routine inspection, right? When inspector identify code violations, they are required by the code to issue a written notice of violation to the owner or operator of the facilities, right? The model code uses the term shall, which has the legal connotation of must, right? We discussed that one in our earlier discussion, that shall means the mandatory and should mean the recommended one. So it should be easily understand. The inspector should be easily extinguish that what is the meaning of the shall and what is the meaning of the should for the model code. Right? The model codes require that notice includes certain elements such as the specific violation, code sections, required corrective action, and date of the follow-up inspection. Suppose if you are going to any facilities, you found some of the violation, right? So you have to give them a notice that there is a violation into this area, that your sprinkler system valve is out of service, right? Or the fire pump unit is not working. You have to correct it within this time frame, the date of the follow-up inspection, and then after that again the inspector will come and they will look if we have corrected those mistakes or no. If you have not corrected, if you have not maintained or corrected those violations, right, those violations, and during the re-inspection, the follow-up procedures, the inspector might give you some of the penalties or notice, right? So you have to do within the time frame. Then we have the seasonal inspection, right? The seasonal condition that increase demand of fire suppression and sufficient fire investigation service increase the need for fire inspection, right? Right. Maybe sometimes the fire suppression demand is high and fire investigation service increase the need for fire inspection. Like maybe in the summertime when the heat is going up, right, there is a more chances of the fire happening, right? So at those times they have to be going for the seasonal inspection for the fire suppression system and fire investigation service need for fire inspection, right? Devoting adequate resource to inspection can help reduce or even eliminate the demand for fire suppression and inspection, right? Normally during the holidays pose specific fire hazard that can be anticipated. During the holidays time, there might be some specific fire hazard that can be anticipated. The Fire Prevention Bureau's ties with law enforcement and other regulatory agencies as well as business, religious and other associations. Right? Maybe there is some religious function and that time there is more crowd is coming into some assemblies areas. The chances of the fire at those time will be much more higher, right? So they have to be look for some of those seasonal inspection. As I mentioned that the aerial fireworks display in congested urban and suburban areas may require actual or site supervision by fire inspector, including a review of the site plan and proposed display, right? So if there is a fireworks in some cities during some occasions, this should be monitored by the fire inspector and they have to review the site plan that what should be the outcome of this one. If something happens, what is the intensity of that one? Based on that, they will give you permit for the fireworks, right? Then we have the special inspection, right? Some occupancies for a special hazard based on industrial process, right? Special circumstances of the occupant or the hour of operations. The occupancies that pose significant life or fire hazard occupancies, housing, complex, industrial process, and that those needs operate to odd hours often require a different level of attention by the fire official, right? So in the special situation, inspection situation, those the fire official have a different level of attention, right? We have to give the training and specialization for inspector in sometime is sometimes warranted, right? At times, a fire official may need to enlist the aid of outside experts, right? So maybe the fire official will be going in those areas with some of the expert who is specialized in certain things, right? The fire official is charged with enforcement of the code and cannot delegate that responsibility to some other entity without legal authorization. And then we have the new construction inspection, right?